John Paquette and say, John, 7 minutes, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks very much, Mike. Yeah, and as already kind of well discussed, I think, by some of the other presenters already, the bank connectivity topic has the reputation of being a complex and painful process. And really, why is that? From the TIS standpoint, we really think it's this layered complexity, right? So there's the first consideration here, which is how am I going to connect up to my banks? And that's going to depend on really what your strategy is and what you're really looking to enable. Maybe you're looking to standardize your global batch payment process through host-to-host connections. Maybe you want a scalable Swift model. Maybe you're looking to accelerate your real-time treasury strategy through open banking APIs. But the problem is it doesn't stop there, right? Because you're connecting up to your banks because you want to facilitate other downstream processes. So you also have to consider the back office systems in scope here. Most customers will have at least an ERP, maybe a TMS, a payroll system as well. But a lot of the most complex companies out there have multiple iterations of each one of those. And there's a lot of considerations around what system needs data feeds into what banks, what file types, what are you really trying to enable there? And that kind of brings you to the third topic here, which is the formatting, which is really how do the two systems communicate with each other? And I think anybody who's worked with bank connectivity before knows that there's so much variation in the different messaging types across the different bank relationships. And unless you get that language right, you're really still not able to really achieve the the efficiencies that your business is really looking to sort of address with your bank connectivity strategy. And so point being, no strategy is really comprehensive unless it addresses all of these layers, all of these factors are really what enables, bank connectivity for corporates. And I think several of the Dragons pointed out, definitely something that we agree with very much in the opening comments here, that bank connectivity is foundational to everything else that Treasury and even beyond Treasury finance really needs to really fuel the automation. It's almost the engine behind all of that automation, right? From, say cash and liquidity management processes, the payments and financial messaging to, cash applications, reconciliations, and, doing things in a compliant and secure way. It's all fueled by your bank connectivity strategy. So this is, absolutely mission critical to get correct here. So TIS, we specialize in solving exactly this, and we've done it for some of the world's most complex companies, right? We've been in this business for 15 years, and one really smart thing that I think that we did is we've always been multi-tenant SaaS from the beginning for the 15-year history of our company. So everything we've ever solved for large, complex corporate customers has become a permanent part of our product. So we have the capabilities to really solve this for a lot of the most complicated companies out there across the world. And that means, the bank connections, we provide a turnkey architecture to activate connections to up to 11,000 banks. The payment format library, we offer one of the largest format transformation libraries in the industry to make sure that the systems and the banks can speak that same language. The back office system integration capabilities as well, right? So absolutely critical to sort of facilitating what we try to do for our corporates. Additionally, we're a secure platform. We're tried and tested by some of the most complex companies out there to meet the most stringent security requirements. And we have the processing power to be able to handle very, very high volumes. So you can see some of these numbers on here, 2.9 trillion in payment volumes. We can handle the needs of even the most sophisticated companies out there in terms of payment initiation volumes through the channels that we provide. So how does it really start with TIS? So it's really about understanding your objectives and really your strategy around your bank connectivity model. Like I kind of alluded to, that's going to differ a little bit depending on what you're really looking to achieve. Maybe it's a globally standardized payments hub product that's focusing on, automating and standardizing your batch AP processes. Maybe it's something leading towards more real-time treasury where, APIs are going to come into focus. But the point being, we'll never force you into one direction or another. We'll advise you on the right technologies to use to really enable your use cases. And we'll make that as turnkey for you as we possibly can, right? So, and we can do that because we have the capabilities, like I said on the previous slide here, that we've done this and we've solved these challenges for so many corporates. So you can see from this heat map that I have up here on the screen, there's very few markets we don't have familiarity with that we haven't enabled this for large corporate clients out there. So, and this is really, really important for us. And we can leverage these capabilities to deliver very, very quickly, even under very complex situations that we come into, right? So. So really, what are we really helping our corporates do when we put in place a connectivity solution? It's really about, unifying their bank connectivity environments, their back office systems to their banking environments, but more so it's about having an effective and scalable strategy here, right? So, it's about sort of why are we connecting your banks up? So, foundationally, we're looking to maximize the benefits of the ERP systems, for example, enable those to really be able to deliver straight through processing, automation, total transparency for the businesses. We're looking to do this in a way that reduces the IT complexity for the business as much as possible so that you're not hindered by IT's ability to build direct bank connections or build formats or meet certain bank country requirements, right? And we're looking to make this really scalable for businesses as well, so that we know that a bank connectivity and payments project is never one and done. The business is always changing, you're evolving, you're moving into new markets, you're adding new bank relationships, doing acquisitions, and then the technologies themselves obviously change from, some of the new bank connectivity methods like APIs or the ISO standard, for example. So making sure that we can handle all that, the complexities that really sort of get thrown at the business. And there's a couple of key ways that we're doing this for our corporate clients today. One is definitely in the ERP migration. We have a lot of clients that are migrating from, say, several instances of an on-premise ERP system towards one cloud-based ERP, like an SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud. And for the business, this is an opportunity for the first time to really get everybody on one ERP. And the opportunities there from an operational process, a standardization standpoint, are tremendous for the business. And they don't want to get bogged down by a bank connectivity, really high technical IT topic projects. So that's one thing we can really enable really well for our corporate clients. Another is ISO migration strategy. Something a lot of companies are thinking about right now as their banks move towards the ISO standard. Maybe their back office systems are still set up for reconciliation and cash applications processes based on, say, MT statements, but now their bank's delivering a CAMT statement file to them, and that's going to cause all sorts of confusion in the back-end system. TIS can actually translate that back to the MT format so that you don't have that process disruption. We do want all of our customers to take advantage of the richness of files that you get from ISO, the ISO migration, but do that on their own terms, not on their bank's terms, right? So another big benefit that we're providing to our customers. Now, I've talked a lot about the technical side of things, and obviously that's a big part of what TIS does, is unifying this technical landscape between the back office systems and the banks. But there's also a big operational component of this. We work with a lot of businesses that are multi-entity, a lot of different regional finance teams, shared service centers, and just as much as they want to unify things from a technical perspective, they want to do that from an operational controls perspective as well, to put in place consistent approval processes, regardless of the systems in scope, simplify user management, right? Centralize reporting, get a comprehensive understanding of failed versus successful payments in one place, standardize manual payments and things like that too. So it's definitely something that we consider when we do a project with our customers as well. And that's us, TIS, so we're a specialized provider in the bank connectivity, payments, and cash management space. Like I mentioned, this topic is foundational. It drives all sort of the efficiencies that businesses are looking to sort of gain foundationally. So we're always happy to chat more if anybody has any questions post-presentation.
Tremendous. Thank you very much, John. And again, bang on time as always. So it's Dragons first and then questions from the audience. Ike, thank you for your question. We'll get to that in just a moment. If you want to be like Ike and get a name check on Treasury Dragons with a great question, then simply type it into that questions tab. But for now, David Kelling, can I come to you, please, and ask if you have a question for John?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, John. That was great. And I just wanted to ask, we've been talking about heavy lifting for a bit. We've heard that a few times today. And I really just wanted to understand how realistic can TIS get involved in helping a treasury create that bank connectivity? What do they need to do, and how much? Where's the workload balance between your client and the banks?
Yeah, so we can actually do a lot of the heavy lifting for the clients. Like I mentioned, we have the capabilities built into the platform. So all the architecture, the formats, all the things that the clients actually need to communicate with their banks is already there. And depending on how involved the client wants to get, we can usually run that process for them on the back end. The thing that we can never do for them is their scenario testing. So like before we go live with the client, we want to make sure that the use case that they're driving at there is actually tested so that in production, they're comfortable with those production processes. But otherwise, there's a lot of the heavy lifting that we can really pick up on our side. So.
Thank you, David. Okay, I did promise to come to our audience. Salvatore has a question, I think directed at Joel, so I'm going to allow Joel to answer that in the questions window directly. But Ike Garley has a question specifically for you, John. Does the ERP need to provide one incoming format defined by TIS? So when you're connecting, is it a format you define? How does that work?
No, I mean, we can work with a lot of just sort of standard formats that are either, say, like industry standard payment formats or that ERP systems might provide natively. So we're pretty flexible from that respect. For example, we could take like a generic ISO XML file and convert that into the bank country required formats. We could take SAP iDocs, which, customers can configure pretty much out of the box. we could take a lot of, say, like turnkey formats like Batcha formats and Bax formats and things like that natively. And if a business doesn't have the ability to sort of provide anything like sort of turnkey out of the box, we do have a template that we can give them to program to. But more often than not, we're usually starting with whatever they can natively send out of their ERP system to try to limit the IT burden on them. Yeah.
Tremendous. That's enormously helpful, Ike. I hope that answers your question. I'm going to come to the Dragons in just a moment for a summary. So for now, we'll say thank you very much, John. We hope to see you next time. And as always, please connect with our vendors offline through the Treasury Dragons website. Thank you, John.